For me, the customer service, good customer service in a law firm means once we've agreed that we're going to work on their case, is aligned with what we can actually achieve, right? So I think that's an important part of the intake call, or the first, if you're having a sales team do that, the first call with a lawyer is like trying to make sure that we're aligned on the end result. I'll give you an example. I talked to somebody a couple of weeks ago whose child was injured at a local daycare, and I jumped into all of this stuff about immunity issues and negligence and blah, blah, blah. And the only thing that he cared about was, can we make the daycare work or not work in a daycare anymore? Right? It's a result that is, I can't make that happen. And had we not had that conversation, I would have been running down to how do I get him the most amount of money? And that goal is not even important to him, right? So making sure that you're aligned on the goals, I think, is important, number one. And then number two, once you have that, setting up a system, and most of these cases can be run on systems where the client never actually has to ask what's going to happen next, because you proactively told them your case is in this stage. Here's the most frequently asked questions of people when they're in this stage. Here's what we think is going to happen next. And if you'd like to set up a call, we can set up a call, right? Installing, we use Hona, which is an app that sends all that stuff out, and it's tied into our case management system. So as cases move to the next stage, client gets a push notification about what's happening in their case. Installing that system has cut back on 75% of the phone calls that we get saying, what's going on in my case? Okay. And it's not because my team is putting in really any more effort to communicate that. It's because the client receives something from us with a video and with some frequently asked questions about what's going to happen next. And so just being informed on their case is like step one to delivering a great customer service. And then, the plus on that is empowering your team when somebody's having a bad day or somebody's just had surgery, to like buy a gift, send some flowers, send some homemade soup, send some local food delivery, something like that. Empowering the team to make good decisions without having to ask you, that will include and improve the customer service experience.
Yeah, I love both things that you shared. Quick story about the first one. So I just had a conversation with an attorney in the New York area, and he was like, he's a trial lawyer, right? So every PI case that comes in the door, he's trying to get max value out of.
Mhm.
And he's like, I don't understand. Like, how am I supposed to hire somebody when it takes me 3 to 5 years to get money out of a case?
Mhm.
Right? Like my time frame is just way out there. He's like, what are other firms doing? And I said, well, other firms are not looking at every case as a max value
Mhm.
case, right? And you're thinking, well, that means I'm not going to be doing right by my client if I don't get the max value. But have you ever asked somebody who came to you, which is more valuable, a quick win, getting, $50,000 in the bank in 6 months, or getting a $300,000 payout 5 years from now?
Mhm.
But so many people who come through our doors would rather have $50,000 6 months from now. As crazy as it sounds to people who maybe don't need $50,000 in 6 months,
Mhm.
right? And would rather wait and get that $300,000 payout. But so many of the clients that you're taking to that max value really aren't even trying to get that. So you painted the picture of like, hey, maybe they're not even looking for the payout. I think even within the scope of the payout, maybe they're more interested in a pre-suit settlement than litigating. Maybe they're interested in litigating until that you can get a max settlement, but they don't want to actually go to trial. Like having that conversation on the front end and really understanding what's important to them. And and then having open conversation during the engagement of, hey, now is a good opportunity if you want to settle for us to ask for a settlement and see what they offer
Mhm.
because, it's looking bad for them and nobody wants to take you to trial. Here's what I think you can get if we take it all the way to the finish line, how long it'll take, but let's see what we can get now. Like giving your client that opportunity is something that I think is prudent for every attorney to do, but most of us just assume that this is what the client wants and we don't even have that conversation. I think clear client communication is really important. And this brings us back to number two that you had, which you're talking about giving client updates, right? And I think that what makes somebody happy is when you set the right expectations and you
Mhm.
never renege on those expectations, which means that you're setting a timeline. And if that timeline is going to be breached, you're having a proactive conversation
Mhm.
with them to explain it's not going to hit, we're not going to hit this the way that we said that we would. Here's why. Here's the new expectation. What we tend to do as human beings is we don't want to have that confrontational conversation, which we think is confrontational. So we're just not going to have it at all. And then it's late. Now the client is wondering, have you forgotten about me?
Mhm.
Why have I not gotten a phone call? Why has this not happened? Now you're doing damage control instead of being proactive. And one of the things that I think every law firm can do is to create like an infograph of the process for whatever your client's engaging you for. And it's just kind of like almost like if you think like a Candyland kind of roadmap of here's the stages of the journey we're about to take together. Here's what you can expect and how long it'll take. And I think that something like that is something that they can always refer back to and be like, oh, okay, we're in this 9-month time frame that nothing was going to happen. So we're good. And instead of you needing to keep updating them, I think that setting that expectation up front is really powerful. So love what you're doing with Hona. Know nothing about the platform, but I'm a big believer in create a system that you can do manually first and
Mhm.
then find technology to automate it,
Yeah.
right? Because so many times we buy the bell and whistle first, and then we're like, okay, I implemented it, but now what? But what if you didn't record the videos that go with it, right? Like, so now they're getting a communication, but it's not the best communication you can do. Let's create that process first and then find the tool that's going to automate that for you.